we made it. You know what? Good things come to those who wait. So thank you for your patience. I'm so glad.
Gosh. We have the most patient community, and you are worth waiting for. So happy to see you.
Thank you. I'm so happy to see you, and I'm so excited to learn more about you because you have such a deep community of support. Female Quotient, you founded it, and you were submitted to be a guest on this. And when I did some discovery and kind of learned more about what you do and what your company does, I was like, we must have this person on. So thank you for jumping on. I know you're very busy, so I'm very grateful and honored to share time and learn from you. So thank you.
Oh my God. Well, I was just so excited to be chosen by you. I'm like, whoa, you're just like such a badass, and you have such a big following on Instagram, and you are beloved by everyone, and my community is going crazy for you. So tell me, what excited you about my community?
You know, it's interesting. I think because I work in a male-dominated industry, which it's changing, it's becoming more integrated with female voices. I have become more passionate about sharing my story, sharing my struggles. You know, what Female Quotient feels for me is a desire to embrace equality. And you don't see it as much with the sports broadcasting industry. You see a lot of male panels. You see a lot of male opinions. And we're starting to tap into more female, integration, if you will. To me, when it's all men, I think that's boring. And so I want to hear what she has to say. We want representation. There's a lot of female fans within the sports community. So I think that was where I started when I learned about you. And I think for me, my first question with you, Shelley, is what was the catalyst? Like, what started this for you that may have been the desire to want change?
No, yeah. Listen, I was the only female CEO top 25 in my category. So I've been part of a boys club just like you my whole life. And I just turned 60 a few days ago. And so I am way older than you. And I was in a world where women just didn't support other women in my day and age. And, I really, I brought femininity to the table. And I just remember it was this first moment for me where I always felt like I had to conform and be like the guys, because that's just what I knew, until I had this first moment of truth where I was showing up to this meeting with this very senior level executive. Her name, will you ask them to shut that down? I have noise. They're putting a new door in and it's just too loud. And I was going to this meeting with this woman named Penelope Queen, and she was the head of research for this big agency. And I thought, oh my God, I'm meeting the Penelope Queen, another woman that ran an agency. And I was so excited about it. And I put on my big corporate suit, and I was very young, and it was a privilege for me. And I put my hair in a ponytail and no makeup, because I was supposed to be dressed very conservative. And I walk into the restaurant and I say, I'm here to see Penelope Queen. And they said, oh, right this way. And I walk over to the table, and there was this woman with this long brunette hair, makeup, and this purple leather tight suit, but a little skirt and this va-va-va-voom femininity. And I'm like, oh my God. And it was this moment where I took my hair out of the ponytail, I flicked it out, and I just said, oh my, I'm going to own who I am. And it was that moment where I said, I can be who I am. And I'm like, why am I trying to be like the guys? I'm a badass woman too. I had no idea. I just thought I was supposed to be like the guys, but who told me I was supposed to be like them? I am going to be me. And that was my moment of truth, that I don't have to be part of the boys club. I can be a woman in this business, and I can own it, and I can own my strengths, and I don't need to be like the boys. And that was that moment of truth for me. And I call them heartbeat moments, and I can follow my heart. And it was that moment where I said, the rules of the workplace were written by men for men. And that was the day that I became chief troublemaker. And I started breaking all the rules that made no sense and creating the new ones, getting rid of the junk in the trunk. And I left, started my own company. And, that from that day on, that was that. And, I started the girls lounge to take on the boys club, and, everything from there just became what it was. And, and there you have it, the F2 community of all of us, hooray. And we started writing our own rules, and I created the uncorporate rules, and, the rest of the story is history. But, you've been there, done that. Tell everybody about you. I want everyone to know you. They all know me. We all want to know you. Tell us your story.
Thank you, Shelley. I love it. Well, your story inspires me because it resonates so deeply. I think what you saw in Penelope is what a lot of women see in you, which is giving women permission to be who they are in an industry that does want a lot of conformity. You're absolutely right. I think being a woman, especially in the sports landscape, we need to deal with so many different pressures that maybe men don't have to face. When's the right time to have a family? We need to know more than the actual male host, co-host, whatever, because we're not given the same freedom or grace. If I were to make a mistake with a stat or a mispronunciation, my male co-host most of the time, oh, he just had a bad day. For me, I don't know what I'm talking about. So what I think is amazing, and what I'm trying to work with as I mentor younger women, is that I didn't have a mentor in this space. I didn't have somebody help me sort of kind of navigate who I was supposed to be. I had to be what I thought everybody else wanted me to be. And that's really so symbolic of not just work, life in general. So I grew up in LA, and I was a tomboy, and I really played a lot of sports. My mom said I was very high energy, and I think sports was a great opportunity for me to work on self-worth, discipline, all of the things. And then I really started to discover that these athletes, much like myself, had a deeper story to tell than just the performance on the football field, on the soccer field, on the diamond, whatever respective sport they were playing. And so that had been my interest, was the opportunity to kind of humanize these athletes, and really get vulnerable. And that's what this Women Crush Wednesday for me is all about, is connecting with women who, like you mentioned, especially in a sports industry, because the spaces and the seats and the spots are so limited, we would look to each other as though maybe they were a threat. And I think for me, growing up, I'd been bullied, and I really stepped into this like I needed to be submissive. And the work was really kind of just knowing my worth and knowing what I brought to the table, and then also helping other people see that in themselves. And so that's the part that I enjoy the most, are these types of conversations where I can share with women who've had to struggle, had to put armor on, had to show up for everybody else and put themselves last. And I think what you do in the community that you've continued to form and embrace resonates so deeply with women like myself, who feel a lot of pressure to be the right person for everybody in her life except for her. You know what I'm saying?
Well, first of all, we have a community of hundreds of thousands of women in over 100 countries. And I have to say, Women Crush Wednesday, Erin, we are crushing on you. I mean, you're getting hearts, waves, everything. Your community of love has just exponentially amplified in magnitudes that I can't even tell you, because what you just said with that vulnerability. And, when you look at sports, over 94% of leaders in the corporate world have played sports. And when we think about women in general, especially athletes and sports, what is remarkable is women is, watch me work. And that's what it is. Men play to win. And, for women, and this better than anybody, it's not just about winning. Mm-hmm. It is about, everything about the sport. And I think that is what is so incredibly important. It's team. And I think that's why women are so incredibly amazing, in terms of the whole sport. Yeah. And, we talk so much about not just what happens on the court and on the field, but also what happens off
Yeah.
the court and, off the field. And we do so much with the business of sports as well. And it is just so incredibly important. What sport did you play?
I mean, I played every sport I could get my hands on, Shelley. I played club soccer, club volleyball, basketball, softball, track and field. I rode horses. I was just a kid that really enjoyed competition in its purest form. And maybe that's some issue I had when I was younger, trying to be seen. I had two older brothers that idolized athletics. And so I think for me to feel like I was fitting in, I needed to be really athletic. But the thing with me, and now as I've done, I've been through a lot of trauma these past 2 years and losing my dad and losing my brother the year before that. I've noticed how important my female relationships are. And it's interesting because you say men win, they look to win. I think women look to lift up others because it's just who they are. It's just we're compassionate, more emotional people, and we need community. We need to rely on each other. And it's funny, as I've been doing a lot of work in the feminine space, the people that can hurt me the most actually are the women. Sure, of course, anyone can, cause trauma or damage. But there is a certain thing that I feel with women, this innate loyalty to her, because a win for her is a win for us, I feel like. And as much as a woman can maybe hurt me, a woman can really help heal me too. And I threw this women's wellness event where we did this circle of vulnerability. And there were about 35 women, which, by the way, I was so proud of myself for throwing it, because I'm not a planner. I'm not an events thrower. And what I noticed, we got into this circle and we all kind of shared what we were sort of going through and the pandemic. That was what started this Women Crush Wednesday for me anyways, was because the pandemic, depleted all of us emotionally, just being, solitary confinement for a lot of time. And what I took away from this community, this vulnerable circle, if you will, was that a lot of our issues are the same, in that we don't prioritize ourselves first and that we don't ask for what we need. And one of the things that's really interesting that immediately in my head, when I saw female quotient and what female quotient represented was equality, we don't even ask for the same in terms of financial support or negotiation. And I think that is so interesting to bring up because we almost feel like we just don't deserve it. Mm. Are those topics that you discuss with your community, just with regards to equality? Are those some of the things that you want your women to walk away from? What is for you the biggest thing that you want women to take from female quotient and the community that you've sourced?
Well, first of all, our women are all now conditioned because not only, we always say when we lift others up, we all rise,
yes.
And that is the truth. And we all now teach each other because we all brag about each other because women never brag about themselves. So it's number one, you got to brag about yourself. So that is, we're all teaching each other to brag about ourselves. So confidence is beautiful, number one. Number two, you got to know your self-worth. So that is, most important. We teach also, and everyone knows this, you got to know your value, you got to know your worth, you got to ask for it, and then add some zeros because, the guys are going to do it. We also talk a lot about imposter syndrome. So you got to just shut that bitch up in your head. So, our girlfriend Wendy Clark has taught us that, and we all know that. Just shut that bitch up in your head because it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Men and women all have that voice in our head. Men ignore it, and women just let it get louder. So just, make it go away because it is ridiculous. So even if you're thinking it, just don't say it and just close it off and just say yes. Ask for it, add some zeros, and move on, right? It's ridiculous. And you're going to get the yes. And the worst thing you can get is a no. All you need is one yes. You're going to get the yes, right? So we support each other, and that's what it's all about. And we say that you don't need one mentor. You get bits and bites of advice from so many amazing people. And it's not just about mentorship from the top down or bottom up. You get that wisdom from all around. And we have such a big community of amazing wisdom, right? And so we all share. It's so easy. Just ask anyone. We're all going to give you advice. You get the best advice from people who have been there, done that. And from the collective of all of us, power of the pack, we got a lot of wisdom amongst all of us. You know, there's so many, from women from all walks of life, from all different countries, all different cultures. You know, it's so easy. You know, we are all so willing to share. And it's what you said. We're all vulnerable, authenticity. And, you know, that's what makes the world go around. So,
yeah, and I think it's so interesting, too. It's like we're afraid to ask for help when we need it. Like, we feel like we don't deserve it. And I'm really working on so many different things in my life right now. Stepping into confrontation. I was terrified of confronting. I mean, and that was just, and then I did this like body healer a few days ago, and the body healer, okay, I mean, I'm doing all the work right now. I am every day I have like some female guru, and she said to me, you have a lot of anger in your shoulders. And she like got it all out, and she just said, you know, don't be afraid of anger. Anger is actually teaching you what your boundary is. And I'm like, wow. I probably thought being angry was like so not feminine, so not polite. And I'm so proud of myself that I'm stepping into, it's okay to have emotions. It's okay to be angry. Why am I like suppressing them to make somebody else comfortable? You know what I mean? So I think that's the work. And what you do, Shelley, is you're giving a lot of women permission that they don't have to have it all together. They can ask for help. They can, you know, I love the story about how you felt like you needed to dress like a man or more masculine. And then you saw a female, you know, looking just amazing in her own being. And I think that's kind of what we need more of, you know.
But like, who wrote the handbook with, you know, when I was early in my day, I mean, I used to stay until midnight because everyone around me used to stay until midnight. We didn't even have computers really at the time. Like, we didn't even have shopping online. I mean, we had catalogs at the time. Like, I wasn't even doing anything. I was twiddling my thumbs, but like everybody next to me was staying late. So I stayed late until the one day I smartened up and I'm like, I'm going to leave at 6 o'clock. And so I got up and I left. I'm like, oh my God, am I going to get in trouble? And I left at 6. Nothing happened to me. Next thing you know, everyone started leaving at 6. It just takes someone to start the trend. And then everyone started leaving. And like, people used to think like, oh, I can't leave to go to my kid's soccer game. Is there a handbook that says don't leave to go to your kid's soccer game? But it's like, you're not supposed to go until you go to your kid's soccer game. You're not going to lose your job. You know, who started the rumor? Like, what? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, who said that? You know, my mom always used to tell me, like, the first time you wear a pair of shoes, they pinch, they hurt. But the more you wear them, the more comfortable you get. So, you know, the first time you do something, it might be a little uncomfortable. But the more you do it, you get comfortable. So, you know, be a little uncomfortable trying something new, and then you'll get comfortable being uncomfortable. So start something that you haven't done before, and then you get comfortable.
Yeah.
So you know what, Erin? We'll be the first, then we'll be the second, then we'll be the third. We'll start the new trend, and that's how we women that do things for the first time will start the new norm, right? And so we're going to be the exception at the beginning. We're going to break a lot of rules, which is going to be fun. And then those new rules will become the new norm. And that's how we create the new trends. And that's how we start the new shit. And let's go. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, yeah. You're amazing. I've already taken up too much of your time, but I did want to ask you this, because when you are managing so many things that are amazing and purpose-filled and inspiring, I wonder if Shelley needs to fill her cup. So I ask you this question. What do you do for self-care? Because it sounds like you've had to navigate the 12 p.m., the midnight leaving work, the 6 p.m. What do you do for self-care now?
You know what? I have a no regret policy. So I never want to look back and say shoulda, woulda, coulda. So I live every day in the moment, and I think forward, and I say, will I feel bad if I miss something? And if the answer is yes, I don't do it. If the answer is no, I move forward. And so I work out. I have a little grandchild, my 3 kids. My husband. I live every day in the moment, and I wake up early. I watch my dumb television shows. I don't miss moments that matter, and I've got amazing girlfriends, amazing family. I watch my television shows, which I love. I work out, and I love what I do. And I always say, when you love what you do, it's called passion. When you don't, it's called stress. So I embrace life and truly live in the moment.
You are so
with no
cool.
regrets.
You are
And so are you. So welcome to our community. We are all embracing you, and we can't wait to see you in person. Come with us to a lounge.
I would be honored. Female Quotient. It is my new favorite page on Instagram. You must check it out. Shelley is the founder. We thank you. I speak on behalf of all women. Thank you for helping us discover our worth sometimes when it's really challenging to speak up for ourselves. And yes, I'm going to come see you soon. So thank you again, Shelley, for taking the time.
Oh my God, so good to see you. I live in LA. Come for lunch.
Oh, we're doing it. All right.
Okay.
I'll find out your schedule. All right.
Okay.
Thanks,
Send me
Shelley.
love.
Bye.